Hey everyone, Sam here. So we are going live a little bit earlier than originally planned, but that's fine. You know, you always got to adapt and things like that. So we were waiting around excited to come on live. So Zoe and I decided we'll just go on sooner so we can chat sooner. So welcome to another installment of Fearless Fridays on Facebook Live. Today I have Zoe with me from Qwertynomics. And so Zoe runs some typing programs, kind of digital literacy programs for kids out of our location. She does a couple of other awesome things kind of in that kind of maker and education space as well. So we're going to talk a little bit today about digital literacy and why not only learning how to kind of code and learn some of those soft skills are important, but even just learning the physical skills of how to use technology is really going to help kids and really help people in kind of today's time. So thank you for joining me, Zoe.
No problems. Thank you for having us.
No problem. So let's talk a little bit about what you do and kind of why you chose to start up Qwertynomics and kind of teach kids about proper typing and how to properly kind of use some technological equipment and why you feel that's important for them.
Okay, no problem. Well, my journey started really, I'm actually a special needs educator, and my journey started with my son. I was actually teaching at the time, but we diagnosed my son with having dyslexia. So one of the things that was really important for him, because he found handwriting very stressful, was actually to teach him typing. But without the right software, there just wasn't anything. So very long story short, we ended up specializing in teaching typing skills, working together, making a program that really specialized in teaching children with learning difficulties at the beginning.
Yeah.
But then we realized that actually it was so valuable for everybody else. So we taught everybody in the school, and it was a fantastic resource. It really changed the grades. It changed the attitude towards work, especially with some of those children who were struggling, especially boys, who were struggling with those difficulties at the beginning, and it really changed their literacy, which again stems back to the digital literacy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. And I really like that you kind of, it was born out of something that's like personal to your heart, right? Like very similar to the story of STEM Minds, where STEM Minds kind of came into fruition because of our founder Anu. There's things that she was recognizing with her own sons and something she wanted to make a difference in. And I think, you know, from your perspective, like being a parent and being an educator and, you know, seeing these trends and deciding to do something about it
and that's
great.
That's how Anu and I met.
Yeah.
Because her son actually came to the typing program and did the typing, and that's how we established that relationship.
Yeah.
And then really it's an amazing fit, because obviously you're doing all of the STEM curriculum.
Yep.
But the typing, even though it's just digital literacy, it's more than that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because even what we find in our programs is that, you know, we'll have kids who come into our programs, and because a lot of the stuff that we do, whether it be like 3D printing or coding, it's all very kind of technology based. You know, sometimes we'll have kids come in here and it shocks us a little bit of, you know, how little they know about how to just kind of navigate a computer, or, you know, even use a computer, and just kind of these things that we sometimes take for granted as adults. Some of these kids just don't even know. They're so used to touch screens and things like that they don't know how to type. They don't know how to use a mouse. And so for us, it's kind of, you know, that kind of makes our job twofold then, where we're like, okay, now we have to teach them not only what to do on the computer, but just how to use it in general too. And Zoe and I were actually talking about earlier how, you know, for our generations, like my generation, her generation, generations previous, we had to kind of learn how to we were taught how to use the computer. We were, you know, taught how to at least do a little bit of typing and how to use a mouse. I still vividly remember in public school, you know, we had library time and we'd go down, and, you know, our librarian at the time was Mr. Di Pasquale. And I remember Mr. Di Pasquale, you know, getting us set up on the computers and teaching us just how to use it and how to be, you know, digitally literate and computer literate, which I don't think is necessarily being emphasized as much anymore.
Not at all. And actually the funny thing is, the more that we've gone to the paperless, and especially with Google Classroom and the public schools, the problem is they're actually not teaching the typing skills, which actually in, you know, where we are right now, this is actually probably one of the most valuable skills. Now actually we're teaching, we've done the teaching in one of the local Christian schools, and they take it on from grade 2.
Yeah.
And every child goes through grade 2 and actually learns how to type properly with Qwertynomics, and they are loving it. So by the time they get to grade 3, their literacy skills are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, which is good. And that's another thing, right? Is it really does kind of tackle into literacy, and it's not just about learning how to actually sit and like in front of a computer, but it's, you know, the literacy skills and the problem solving skills and all those kind of other things that go into it, where it's not just about learning how to type or just about, you know, learning how to actually physically use the technology, but you're learning a lot of other things around with it, or, you know, and part of it too. Hearing you speak actually just reminded me of a student that I had in one of my placements. I was teaching grade 3, and I vividly remember he had a lot of kind of fine motor struggles.
Yeah.
And for him, you know, watching him work with one of the CYWs on the computer, it was kind of heartbreaking in a way, because he just couldn't do it. And I was trying to think of, you know, oh my gosh, like what kind of things are out there to help this student, because, you know, you can tell that he liked using the computer, he liked typing, he wanted to type because it was easier for him than writing, but it was still hard for him, and it's still struggling, right? And so thankfully his parents were great, and his parents are the type of parents who are going to, you know, do everything they can to help him get to that point. So I think they're a good example of, you know, parents who realize that it is something important to also emphasize. But again, it's one of those things that, you know, we use computers all the time. We just don't even consider that, you know, it's something that you do have to learn just like any other skill.
It's just like, you know, taking a child to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
You don't just throw them in the pool and say, okay, well, some people do, but you don't just throw them in. You actually teach them a skill, and you're giving them a tool. Same thing with a pen. You don't just throw them a pen. Okay, naturally they'll start to draw, but they don't learn to write until you've taught them. So same thing with typing. We were discussing earlier on, a lot of people don't realize that when you're actually learning how to type, if you type properly and learn the correct skills without looking at your hands, there actually is a scientific reason why we do that, and it's because it's training a different part of your brain. So if you look at your fingers at all, you're actually training your frontal cortex, which is everything else that's going on. What we do is, by covering up the hands completely, you're having to send that to the cerebellum, which is your muscle memory, which is why you see all of the people, you know, who have learned to type properly can type and concentrate on something else and hold a conversation. And that's what we do. But the way that we've done it, we've taken the sort of the secretary training and all of the foundational things, but put it into a gamification platform, which makes it interesting and rewarding and fun. And also, again, addressing all of the learning disabilities as well as young children, you know, because we're using younger children these days, they need to learn the digital. We've taken single lines, so there's a lot of setting changes we can make. So we can teach 6-year-olds and we can teach 18-year-olds, and I teach lawyers and doctors on the same program, which you've seen the program, and it's really fun. And, you know, we have a little character, and he's QWERTY, and but even the doctors and lawyers, that the first time they see it are like, oh, this is really gaming. And I know there's actually a lot of science, but they have so much fun as an adult learning the same thing. So.
Exactly, and I think that's the key, right? Is, you know, talking about 21st century learning and talking about digital learning spaces and just kind of the way that education and technology is evolving. Gamification is a huge piece, right? Because it's one of those things that you're learning all of these other skills through that gamification piece. So it's you know, more interesting, more engaging. You're more likely to kind of continue on with it instead of being like, okay, sit in front of your computer and like type now and things like that. And there's a lot you can do with even just getting kids to start just using, you know, keyboards and computers instead of touch screens all the time.
There's also a little bit of, you know, a little bit of attitude as well in what's, when a child is told, oh, they're going to type in class, the majority of them are like, I always say to them at the first lesson, you know, who's been made to come here by their parents? And pretty much most of them put their hands up. Who really wants to come to type in class? And they're like, not really. But the first hour, I mean, this is the hardest, because you're training them with lots of new skills. But I can guarantee within the first hour, you've got those kids hooked. They really enjoy it. And even the children who don't enjoy learning, or really struggle with that, find it really exciting, and they're getting up at 6 a.m. because they want to practice the typing. You know, but it impacts not only, you know, just the computer skills, but it's impacting the whole curriculum.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
now homework is done quicker.
Yeah.
You know, it's much more enjoyable. They're not struggling. They're not doing what we call the hunt and peck, where they're like looking at the key and the fingers waving around.
That was me as a child.
But you know, even now, for example, some of the first cohort that I actually taught are actually now in university, and I'm still in contact with a lot of them. And they're now actually generating an income in university from other students by typing up their thesis and their dissertations. Not necessarily the content, but the actual typing skills.
Yeah.
And they're actually making a living and paying for their education just through that one skill.
Which is really cool. And one of those things that a lot of people, you know, wouldn't have even considered. I mean, you know, adults and children alike. And that's part of, you know, what we really like about, you know, offering programs, you know, in conjunction with you as well, is that, you know, because we're so focused on building those skills, you are very focused on building those skills. Then it's all about just kind of setting kids up with, you know, skills and things that are going to help them in life, no matter what they do, because you never know where some of these things are going to take you, right?
But 96% of all jobs now require typing skills.
Yes, well, especially too with the, you know, technologies evolving so fast, jobs are evolving and rapidly changing so fast that you wanna be prepared for anything. Really,
absolutely, and you know, in conjunction, like you say, the two together is a perfect match.
Yeah, exactly. So we are actually offering in the summer a couple of camp programs together. So Zoe has a half day, I believe, typing camp.
Half day a week in July.
Yeah.
And one in August as well.
Yeah.
We also run private lessons from STEM Minds. So we do private and semi-private classes. And then back in September, we'll be running the Tuesday and Wednesday evening classes again.
Awesome. Yeah. So that'd be great. So you can kind of bring them in, learn them about typing. They can learn about typing. They can use their typing skills in our coding club and, you know, apply them in different sorts of ways. But really what we wanted to just kind of come on and emphasize, and thank you again, Zoe, for joining us and kind of sharing your insights, is that, you know, that key point of you want to equip kids with all these different sorts of digital skills. It's, you know, not just about necessarily just about the code, or not just necessarily about the 2D and 3D design, but you're exposing them to all of these different things, including typing, so that they can, you know, really start to build a strong skill set and a strong foundation, so that by the time they are ready for the workforce, who knows, you know, by the time our 8-year-olds are entering the workforce, no one can really say what those jobs are going to look like or what they're going to be, but our hope is that, you know, we're helping them to kind of get to a point where no matter what kind of space they're faced with, they've got the skills and they've got the knowledge to adapt and be flexible. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for having me today.
No problem. So as always, if you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. Like I said, Zoe is always around. We are in communication with Zoe as well. I have tagged her in this Facebook post as well. So if you have any questions specifically about typing and Qwertynomics, feel free to write them in the comments below too. I will also post the links to the summer camp there. So if you are interested in kind of building out some of the kids' digital skills this summer, you can check out our camps. And otherwise, is there anything else you want to say to the lovely people?
Yeah, we do a half-day course, but if you're actually looking for a full-day course, we actually partner with you guys.
Yeah.
So we can offer the typing in the morning, because you really don't want to be doing typing all day.
All day, every day.
You know, it's a little bit too much for them. So what we find is we do the typing in the morning when the brains are nice and fresh. And we can do some really fun stuff with you in the afternoon. So.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot more kind of hands-on STEM challenges. And again, you know, take what they learned in the morning and apply it to some tech in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So. Awesome.
Thanks, Sam.
Well, thank you so much, Zoe, for joining us. And for those of you who are watching either today or a later date, just a reminder that it is the Victoria Day weekend. So Monday classes won't be running this Monday. They'll start up again next week. And other than that, have a fabulous weekend, everyone. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.